I was sitting at a bar in downtown Austin, Texas. Live blues was playing in the background, a cold beer and a plate of BBQ sat in front of me, and the keys to my very first house were in my pocket. I felt whole. But the road to this feeling was longer than I'd like to admit. It all started in Seattle, about a year and a half ago. I was Mark, the reliable guy. I worked as a senior dev at a stable software company, had a solid 401k, and was making payments on a Subaru. My girlfriend, Sarah, worked in PR. She was the bright, charismatic life of the party, and I adored her. We'd been together for 3 years, and I thought we were heading toward marriage. But there was one problem. His name was Liam. Liam was Sarah's ex from college. The typical free spirit. A freelance photographer living the van life, scraping by on odd jobs and posting incredible photos from national parks on Instagram. When Sarah and I first started dating, she told me she was done with Liam because he was too chaotic. I was the safe harbor she needed. I took it as a compliment. The trouble started subtly. Sarah was just checking in on him whenever he posted something sad. Then came the friendly coffees whenever he passed through town. I tried to be the modern, understanding boyfriend. They're just friends. They have history, I told myself while I covered our rent because Sarah had blown her share on a spontaneous girls' trip. The real breaking point happened last spring. My company was opening a major hub in Austin. My boss offered me a team lead position. It came with a huge salary bump, stock options, and a full relocation package. But there was a catch. They needed an answer by Friday. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I rushed home, buzzing with excitement. "Sarah, this is our chance. We can buy a house, start a new life in Texas." She looked at me like I'd suggested moving to Mars. "Austin? Mark, my whole life is here. My friends, my job. And Liam is going through a really rough patch right now. His van broke down in Oregon. I can't just leave." I froze. "Wait, you don't want to move for the sake of our future because your ex's van broke down?" That's when she said the line that changed everything. "God, Mark, don't be so insecure. I'm not going to abandon a friend in need just because you're jealous. You're always so predictable. You lack spontaneity." It felt like a slap in the face. I was predictable because I was an adult. I paid the bills, I planned our vacations, I was there when she had meltdowns about work. Meanwhile, Liam was spontaneous because he lived day to day on other people's dimes. I didn't sleep that night. I realized that to Sarah, I wasn't a partner. I was an insurance policy. The safe option she kept around while she entertained the idea of adventure. Thursday morning, I called my boss and accepted the offer. That evening, I sat across from Sarah. I didn't yell. I was calm, and that terrified her. "I took the job. I'm moving to Austin in a month." "What?" She laughed, thinking it was a joke. "But what about us?" "Us doesn't exist anymore, Sarah. You're right. I am predictable. Predictably, I want respect. I'm not going to compete with a guy living in a van for my own girlfriend's attention. I'm choosing myself." I crashed at a buddy's place for the remaining time. It was the hardest month of my life. I blocked her calls when she cried and ignored texts from her friends calling me heartless. Part of me wanted to undo it all, cancel the move, and go back. But I held my ground. Austin greeted me with heat and loneliness. For the first 6 months, all I did was work and set up my new life. It wasn't an overnight success story. It was hard, but it was my life. I bought an older house that needed work and started spending my weekends learning how to lay tile instead of waiting for my girlfriend to come back from a friendly hangout. I didn't hear much about Sarah until I flew back to Seattle for a coworker's wedding about 8 months later. I spotted her by the bar. She didn't look homeless like in those dumb internet revenge stories. She looked great, same as always. but there was a certain exhaustion in her eyes. She approached me first. "Hey there, Texan. You look good. Got a tan." We stepped aside to talk. "How are you?" I asked. She sighed, and that life of the party mask slipped a bit. "Honestly, not great. Liam moved in with me right after you left. It was fun for the first 2 weeks. Then it turned out that spontaneity meant not paying rent for 3 months straight and disappearing for a week without a word. I kicked him out a month ago. I'm staying with my sister now, trying to dig out of some debt." She looked at me with that look that used to make me do whatever she wanted. "Mark, I was an idiot. I was chasing cheap thrills, and I lost the only real thing I had. I miss our stability. Maybe I could fly down to Austin for a weekend, just to see the city?" In that moment, I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't want to gloat. I just felt sorry for her. She got exactly the adventure she wanted, and it turned out that adventures sometimes smell bad and don't pay the rent. I finished my whiskey. "Sarah, I'm glad you realized that, really. But that's not my story anymore. I have a house in Austin I'm fixing up, a team I'm responsible for, and a life I actually like. You wanted spontaneity, and I wanted reliability. We're just different people." I saw tears well up in her eyes, but I no longer felt that familiar urge to save her. "Take care of yourself, Sarah," I said. And for the first time in years, it wasn't just politeness. I genuinely meant it. I walked back toward the dance floor, feeling incredibly light. I hadn't won the game. I had just stopped playing it. And that was the best victory of all.